The date is December 27th, 2022. My name is Jacob. I am or was married. Last night I murdered my wife, Rebecca. This is my confession, I guess. You probably think my wife is the victim, because she's the dead one. Maybe she is. Rebecca, she loved me in her way. I don't think she ever really wanted to hurt me. It was just an unfortunate side effect of keeping me in her life. We met in our senior year of college, and we began dating shortly after. She grew very, very, very attached very quickly. I was uncomfortable moving as fast as she wanted, and it seemed like she couldn't slow down. When I decided to break things off, I had no reason to be afraid of her. That was until 3 weeks after graduation. She kidnapped me. I was tied to a chair, that chair for days, locked away in that darkness, in that basement. It was 6 months before I was allowed to leave the basement. A year before I went out in the daylight. Almost 2 years before I was allowed in public and never alone. She was always watching. She always knew. There isn't much proof of what happened back then. My wounds were healed or scarred over. Rebecca's tools are lost or discarded, or maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe she just tucked them away in the attic like Christmas lights. Not needed for today, but always ready for the future. I wrote in a diary for a few months. Day 56 of my captivity, but I knew she read it. I knew that. So it just became another game between us. She knew that I knew that she read it. After graduation, I'd moved back to my hometown. Halfway across the country from my college friends. And my relationship with my parents was strained. The only person who really missed me was my sister Alice. She looked for me, and she almost found me. I didn't even know my sister was dead for 3 months. We were fighting. Me and Rebecca, we fought quite often. And she screamed at me. And she hurt me. And she apologized afterwards for all the things she said, for what she did to me. My wife, she buried my sister in her garden. And I planted roses over her. Sometimes I still think, and I wonder if I could have done anything. I think about the roots tangled up in her bones every single day. I think about that. And every Valentine's Day, Rebecca would cut roses from it and give them to me. There were opportunities to escape, I suppose. Things like that are always much clearer in hindsight, but you can't always see them in the moment. When she left me alone, I knew she could walk back at any time. When I worked in the garden, she could be watching me through the windows. The uncertainty paralyzed me, along with the knowledge of how far she would go. She brought home pets for me. They were her best gifts, I suppose, because I adored each and every one, and they were her worst gifts because she used them as insurance. No one questions a dead dog. My opportunity to escape grew more frequent over the years, but I was well trained by then. Further, I was terribly afraid. How much could I even really prove? I mean, how much damage, destruction, death could she cause before the police would arrest her? If I stayed, I could contain the destruction. She was almost normal if I was compliant. After 6 years, we married. I signed our wedding forms with my left hand. I read in a book once that it wasn't legal if you didn't sign with your dominant hand. I liked the thought that we weren't married at all. I like to imagine how much that would unsettle her. I never checked to see if it was true. I had no interest in the truth. She took me out much more after that. I never thought of myself as much of an actor, but we were putting on quite a show together. Rebecca and I, the perfect couple. We continued like that for years. And she seemed happy. Life was easier when she was happy. Maybe Rebecca got bored of me. Maybe I was bored of myself. I was almost a blank slate by then. Nothing left a mark on me. Maybe she felt settled and secure. Maybe she could sense my distance and was looking for a new way to tie us together. Regardless, she decided she wanted a child. I hardly existed, and she had a criminal record. No one was going to give us a baby. I was grateful for that. I did want children once upon a time, but not now, not with her. I couldn't even imagine the twisted mockery of a childhood we have strung together. I told her 1,000 reasons why I didn't want a child. I was convinced I'd successfully disassociated her from the idea. I was so sure that she had let it go. I was very good at lying to myself by then. She hadn't done anything to anyone in a long time at that point. I really thought I was the only one in danger. I don't know what she was planning. I like to think that I would have finally killed her sooner. Or finally called the police. I don't know, something... Maybe that's a lie too. On Christmas morning, she came home with a baby. Small and healthy and still covered in his mother's blood. She called him my present. I smiled and thanked her. I barely slept that night. When Rebecca asked, I blamed it on the baby. I couldn't sleep the next night either. They had featured a missing woman on the news earlier that evening. She had disappeared on Christmas Eve. Her husband and parents were holding a press conference. They must have known she was gone, right? They must have known. And they were standing next to the most beautiful photo of her. She looked a little like me. A little like Alice. I thought about her son growing up without knowing she had ever existed. Calling her murderer mom, wondering why his parents couldn't love him. I eased myself out of bed, and I whispered to the kitchen to get a glass of water. I always had an excuse ready, and a knife that was small enough to hide in my pocket. I crept back to our bedroom and into our bed. We were face to face when I plunged that knife into her neck. Then I called the police to report a murder after she stopped moving and to return a missing child. I thought it would feel good finally being free of her. It just feels strange. Hello everybody, it's I, the man of culture. If you like this video, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, consider donating, as it funds the channel and everything that I do, and it definitely shows your support and love. Also, please check out my Patreon, where I'm uploading deliciously spicy content for all of my viewers. Have a great day, darling. Oh wait, how could I forget? I must be losing my mind. Don't forget, everyone, I stream every Saturday and Sunday. And I just want to give a shout out to our loyal tier 3 subscribers on Patreon. Castiel, thank you for subscribing. Ari, thank you as well. You are amazing. And finally, Panda. Thank you all for subscribing to Tier 3. You truly are amazing. Have a great day.